They're silent though.
And
ours isn't. Ours is noisy.
wait, you have a Roomba?
Yeah. Noisy.
I would love to get a Roomba that's a mop. Not for my house.
Ah.
I want one for the entrance when you come into the Chabad house. That'll be perfect.
When we get the new building.
Yeah, but I've looked. None of them are. They're not good. They don't last long. All right, we're gonna start in just a moment.
Oh yeah,
I would say that if you're listening, you know, I when except for a cake, I always kind of play around with the recipe. So the recipe that I gave you is the recipe, but I'll give you little changes and little different things that I do. So have a pencil handy, because I'm giving you my tricks of the trade.
Where is the recipe? Did we get them?
Yeah, so it's in today's email. I will also put it in the chat again, so you'll see it.
It's under promotions.
So then you got to change it. Make it not a promotion.
I don't know. Sometimes your email comes under primary and sometimes promotions.
Interesting.
Today
actually,
was promotions.
Ellen, in my Gmail, I took that off. I don't like that.
Benita.
Yes, darling.
The apple cake that you're making, is that delicious one that I was the recipient of? Okay, then I don't need the recipe. Thank you, Steve. Because I'll just wait for you to deliver.
Here this afternoon.
Benita, which one are we doing?
Kugel for dinner.
Which one are we doing first? The Kugel?
We're doing the Kugel.
Okay, so I'm going to put the Kugel into the chat right now.
Do I have a nerve or what, Ben?
Huh?
Do I have a nerve or what? What spirit's called?
No,
All right.
it's perfect.
All right, I'm going to get this show started.
Okay.
So I'm just going to mute everyone's mics, and then I will make sure, Benita, let me get your second camera going. Where did I put your second camera? There we go.
You named it.
There you go. I made a second co-host so I can find it. Okay, so I'm going to introduce Benita, but before that, I just wanted to make sure everyone is aware. On Friday, we're having the mayor of Phoenix present. So if you do have a question for her, please reply to today's email or email me independently. We'll try to get questions through the chat as well, but I don't know her time frame. So if I have questions earlier, I know I can make sure we include that on the paper that she'll have. But if not, I will follow the chat and try to get live questions as well and see what her time frame on that is. And again, you can definitely invite friends to every single one of these. They do not have to be Jewish, as we always share. Just if they're interested, looking for something to do, we would love for them to join us. And thank you for joining today. So today we're going to have Benita Sonabend, who has been very generous of her time already a number of times for different presentations on baking or even making some delicious gravlax and other different delicacies. And today we're doing a Rosh Hashana theme in the sense of items that you might want to have for your holiday celebration next week. And Benita, as many of you know, is a owner of a small business called Ta'eem, which is a boutique challah bakery, and that is by order.
I like that. My PR man.
I know.
I like it.
It is something you'd have. It's not a walk-in bakery. You'd have to order in advance. But just
wait. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Just so you know what she does in her free time, in addition to the other things she does in her free time. Thank you, Benita, for joining us today and for your presentation you're about to begin. Again,
welcome.
If you do have questions, unmute or use the chat. I'll be following it and make sure that Benita can address your questions. All right, Benita, you're on.
All righty. I'm just gonna, okay. We're gonna start off making the spinach cocoa. Happens to be my Aunt Rose's recipe. And so I've done a couple of things to make it different. The ingredients for the kugel are 1/2 pound of wide noodles. Now, you can't find, at least kosher noodles, you can't find a 1/2 pound bag. I use a 12-ounce bag and I use the whole bag, and I'll tell you why. 2 10-ounce they used to come in a box, and I'm sure they still do. The frozen boxes are 10 ounces. These bags are 12 ounces. I use all of that. Again, I'll tell you why. 6 eggs that we're going to beat. 2 packages of onion soup mix. It's the only seasoning that you're going to need because it's very, very salty. And it's got a lot of pepper. So all your seasoning ingredients are in the onion envelope. A half a cup of melted margarine, which I need to melt a little bit more, and a half a cup of mocha mix or coffee mate or anything that's plain flavored and dairy free. So here's what I do to add and change the recipe a little bit. First of all, for Passover, for Pesach, the Passover noodles are great. This is an excellent recipe for Passover with the noodles. So what I'm going to do is we're going to beat the eggs. So I have 6 eggs in here. I'm going to beat the eggs. I've got my oven preheated at 350 degrees, and I've got my dish is right next to me. First thing you want to do is beat the eggs. We're going to put in the onion soup mix, and I'll probably horrify some of the people on. I do not boil noodles. I can tend to be a really lazy cook, and so, or I want to keep work down. I want to keep cleanup down. So I will mix all of my ingredients. Here's your mocha mix. And here is, you know what? I gotta zap that for a second. I have my house on cool because the oven is going on burning. So let's do this. Okay, we're gonna do that. Spinach. Now, it says in the ingredients, in your list of ingredients, to drain your spinach. I don't drain the spinach because I put my noodles in uncooked, and it needs that extra liquid. So I'm going to put in 2 12-ounce bags. These are Fry's. I don't know. These are Kroger. I don't know if it's Fry's or Safeway. This is a really, really good, simple recipe. It's hard to whisk with the spinach in it. Mix it all up really, really well. Let me move this out of the way so you can see better. Aha, much better. And be careful with your margarine too. It's really, really difficult. I believe this is Mother's margarine. It's difficult to find non-dairy margarine. And that I don't understand either, even though it says, and maybe Rabbi, you know why, because maybe it's the equipment, but you don't see dairy in margarine. And
Yeah, so that's definitely the reason.
Is that it? It's the equipment. So if you're very, very strict, you're going to want it to say parve. It's not easy to find. I find that unless, Rabbi, you've got a trick, I find that usually around Passover, it's easier to find non-dairy.
I know that I'm answering this as if I'm a cook, but we either buy it at the kosher store or we use Earth Balance has
Okay.
options.
All right, I'm getting a spatula. All righty, and that's it. We're going to put the noodles in. If you're afraid to do it, if you think, oh my goodness, she must be crazy, boil your noodles. I'm all about efficiency and time, and I have to tell you that with the extra liquid in here, they're going to cook and they're going to be great. So you're going to mix everything up. You can use a 9x13 baking dish. Mine's a little deeper than that. It just depends. Also, in your recipe, if you wanted to be a little bit more creative with this, you can saute onions, and that'll add to the onion flavor. Green onions. You can saute shallots, leeks, mushrooms, anything that is not a real watery vegetable. You don't want to do eggplant. Anything that would, lend itself to this kind of recipe. And it'll just add flavor. It'll add depth to it. So it'll go further. It'll make it a larger. And here is my my baking dish. Also, if you're not cooking your noodles first, the recipe says to cook for 45 minutes covered and 15 minutes uncovered. Cook it for an hour covered, just so that the steam gets to it. And let's see, 1 sec. Camera 2. Oh, there we go.
Oops.
There we go. No, that's perfect.
I know I gotta get rid of this.
There we go. We're just gonna flatten it out. And your noodles, I promise you, your noodles will cook. Izzy will be the judge of that because I cooked one this morning. And so he's gonna be the taster. I'm gonna get a piece of foil to cover that. We're gonna put it in the oven. It's so quiet. Not anymore.
I'll make some noise. Can you use just lactose-free milk?
It's
that-
not milk. You need
I don't know
something
if they do
thicker.
frozen one.
You need
Pardon
something.
me?
You need something that's thicker.
Thicker.
I don't know if they make a lactose-free coffee creamer, but you do need something that's thicker than milk.
Unit.
No. Ben, what about Rich's coffee creamer?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Because that's OU Parav.
Yes.
Hey, Rab, I'll ask the question.
That goes into the oven for an hour. Here is. Oh. That's-
Benita,
Yes.
someone wanted to know if you can use a sugar substitute if you cannot have sugar.
There's no sugar in it.
No, exactly.
There you go, Ellen.
No sugar.
And again, if you want to see the recipe, it is a half a pound wide noodles, 2 10-ounce packages of frozen chopped spinach, defrosted and drained, 6 eggs beaten, 2 packages of onion soup mix, a half pound of melted margarine, a cup of mocha mix, or another dairy creamer, non-dairy creamer. And then you bake it at 350, covered for 45 minutes, uncovered for 15. And if you were listening to Benita, if you are not going to be boiling your pasta or noodles before, then you want to do 1 hour covered. Again, that
Okay, now-
recipe is in the chat, and it was in
Okay. So here we are. The noodles are nice and soft. Izzy, you can put back camera 1. Izzy's going to come around and taste,
Uh-oh.
and he's going to let you know if the noodles are cooked or not.
Can I get an anonymous,
Yeah, you're anonymous. We can't see you.
hey, it's cooked.
Yummy, yummy, yummy.
Yay, delicious. So
You
there
want-
we have it.
Do you want me to tell you anything more about what's going on here, or?
Just keep eating, Wilfie. Just be jealous.
I didn't
All
know
right,
the
you have
substance.
to move.
Excuse me.
Tell,
I'm
tell
eating
us
here.
tell us more about the flavor profile.
Ah,
So it's the simplest side dish that you can make. No, take it, it's yours. It's the simplest side dish that you can make. It makes a really nice size that'll feed 8 to 10 people really easily as a side dish. It's 1 bowl, aside from, all your measuring equipment. But it's just when you have to start, for me, if I have to start boiling the noodles and then cleaning that pot and waiting for that to happen, like I said, I try to be, I don't know if I'm an easy, a lazy cook or an efficient cook, but I've learned about noodles for a lot of dishes. I don't cook lasagna noodles either. So,
Benita,
Yeah.
was that a pound bag you used of noodles?
It's
Yeah.
12 ounce.
Oh, 12 ounces. Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
12 ounce. And I use the Manischewitz, I'm sure, and they only come 12 ounce. The other, traditional brands, like I said to Lady, there's other brands of egg noodles. They may come in 12 and 10 ounce bags, usually not. Why would you want a little left over, or 2 ounces? There's nothing to do with it. So that's why I use the whole 12 ounces. I keep the liquid in the spinach.
No, I was leaving it there.
Oh, you were leaving it there? Did you want it? Oh, wait. Oh, no, he wanted you to see.
He's coming back for seconds.
He's finished already.
Benita,
right.
does that freeze well?
It freezes perfectly. Here's my suggestion for freezing it. Bake it for 45 minutes and then freeze it. Leave the additional time, defrost it, and then bake it for the additional time. And that way, or you may want to do it a little longer, but it won't dry out that way. So don't bake it fully if you're going to freeze it. But don't freeze it uncooked. It's a lot
I'm still a
easier.
little confused about the hour. In the chat, it says bake covered for 45 minutes and uncovered for 15 minutes, which totals an hour. But then
Right,
it was said that if you don't boil it, you bake it an hour, but it's already an hour.
If you do not boil your noodles, leave it covered for an hour and bake it for an hour, and then another 15 minutes uncovered.
To brown it.
Got
Right.
you.
Right. So I'm going to bring over the ingredients for the apple cake.
And then Benita, while you're doing that, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Okay, so a couple people are sort of confused about the mocha mix. So if you don't mind just sharing, it doesn't have to be the mocha mix brand. She just used
No,
that brand,
any
but-
non-dairy, and that's if you're concerned that it's kosher and parve. But any non-dairy creamer will do. Not milk. Milk isn't thick enough. You need the thickness of the for the extra body and for the richness.
So
of
if
the
someone
flavor.
wants it, if someone wants a dairy, what could they use instead of a mocha mix?
Coffee mate, heavy
What about
cream.
half and half?
Yeah,
Half and half. Half
Heavy
and
cream.
half.
Half and half. Heavy cream. Yes.
Okay, and then Ethel, did you have a question? I saw that you unmuted your mic.
No, I added in that you
Refrigerator.
bake it covered and then uncover it for 15 minutes to brown it.
Right.
Yes.
So basically, if you're doing it without boiling the noodles, it's gonna be an hour and 15 minutes total.
Yes. Thank you.
I feel like I could start
Clear.
baking.
So we're now going to move on to the apple cake. As I said, cakes are very, very specific in their ingredients, and I don't mess around with them too much, although sometimes I just can't help myself. So the first thing you want to do, the ingredients for the apple cake, the first part of the ingredients, say 5 to 6 apples, you'll want to peel them and dice them. And I've already done that for you, but I want to show you one of my tricks. So, and I have a apple peeler attachment to my KitchenAid, which makes life so easy. Or I have a peeler, so I use it for potatoes and all kinds of things. It slices, it dices, it. So you're gonna.
That's how Rumple Peel started.
That's how Rumple Peel started. So peel your apples. If you have a little bit of skin, it's not a problem. So one of my little tricks of the trade, I take a melon baller, take out the bottom, take out the top, just makes it so much easier, quicker. I slice it down the middle And then with your melon baller, take out the seeds. A lot of these things I don't make up on my own. I'd like to say I do, but I watch a lot of ask Izzy, watch a lot of cooking shows or take a lot of cooking classes. And then you're just going to want to dice up your apple to small pieces, maybe 1/2 inch, but as long as they're smaller rather than large. And that's all you have to do with your apple. So what I've done, you're going to want to let your apples sit in the cinnamon sugar for a while. They have that's my glass bowl. Thank you. You're going to let them want to sit in the glass bowl for a while in the cinnamon sugar. It's going to cause a lot of liquid. You don't want to add that liquid into your cake. Just want to, and then your apples get a really good cinnamony taste. The next part of the ingredients, let me just get rid of my.
And while you're getting rid of it, I did put the ingredients into the chat again. And if you did not look at today's email, it's lower in today's email, was the recipe was included as well.
So now it says to put all the ingredients in order. So I have my paddle attachment. I tried to do this in a glass bowl with a hand mixer. My hand mixer is about 30 years old, so it doesn't really have the oomph to. This becomes a very, very thick batter. So this is the flour and the sugar is going in. What you want to do is make a little bit of a well, and then you're going to put in the rest of your ingredients. So I'm going to beat the 4 eggs. Pour those in. Vanilla. What is it? It's 2½ teaspoons of vanilla. There's 3 teaspoons of baking powder. There's no soda in here, just baking powder. 1/4 cup of orange juice and 1 cup of oil.
So you went out of order.
Well, they're all in there. Oh, it did say in order, right? I didn't go in order. Well, we'll see if it turns out. All righty. So we're going to mix this up. It's going to be a really, really thick batter, not a traditional cake batter. So we're going to get going. Yes, camera 2, if you want to switch to camera 2. There we go. You never want to overmix a cake batter, but you want to make sure that everything's incorporated. I'm going to scrape that down once. And you see the thickness of it. Again, it's a really, really, the only thing that will be time consuming are dicing up your apples. But this is, and of course the baking time is pretty long. I find that I have to bake things a little bit longer here than I do, or than I did. And that's about it.
Benita,
Yes.
question in the chat. Do you use a specific type of apple or?
You know what? No, I don't. Don't use a really, Red Delicious are frankly too soft. So don't use Red Delicious. You can use a combination of Granny Smith. Just, some apples are softer than others. You're better for a heartier apple because then they don't turn into applesauce when it cooks. So you see the thickness of this batter. Really, really a thick batter.
But you get the moisture from the apples.
Exactly. And if you're, and yeah, and a lot of the moisture has come out of the apples from sitting in the cinnamon sugar. It draws out some of the moisture. So there we go.
Is there 5 tablespoons of?
5 tablespoons. So yes, the mixture for the apples is 5 tablespoons of sugar and 2 teaspoons of cinnamon and 5 to 6 apples. So now,
One other question.
yes.
What about, can you substitute orange juice in baking?
No.
Wow.
Because I was looking at, I Googled it while I was waiting to ask you.
Uh-huh.
The most common substitutes for orange juice are lemon, lime, apple, and pineapple juice.
Oh, I guess you could. I think it needs a little bit of citrus. The baking powder, probably not, just because it's got to rise.
Right. No, I didn't see the baking powder question. I just saw orange.
Oh, the orange juice?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't like orange juice, you could add another liquid. You can add a little bit more. It's 1/4 cup, isn't it? It's 1/4 cup. So, and 1 egg is 1/4 cup, another 1/4 cup of oil, but you want to have that little bit of a citrus flavor. Lemon juice may be too tart.
Gotcha.
The orange juice keeps
Pan
the
whip.
apples from really turning brown.
Actually, I will put them in a water bath with a slice. I cut a lemon in half, squeeze the lemon, and then throw the half in there. I peel all my apples first, put them in that water, and then take them out as I need to slice them. They won't turn brown in the sugar and cinnamon. So the recipe says for you to do half of your batter and then a layer of apples. What I find, it works a lot better because as you see in a tube pan, it's narrower at the bottom and it widens out at the top. If you do half and half, you're really not going to have enough to cover your apples. So I do 1/3 and 2/3. I have floured, even though it's you know, a no-stick pan, I flour and I greased and floured. Sometimes I use the spray. I can taste it, that cooking spray in a cake, and I don't like it in a cake. So I did use margarine and flour. So I'm going to take about 1/3 of the batter. Now it's really, really thick. So you're just going to spoon it in there, and you're going to want to carefully spread it out. You don't want to do it too tough. You don't want to scrape off the flour and the margarine.
Now people can use a regular pie.
No, it's a tube pan.
Okay.
And not a bun pan either. It won't work in a bun. You need a tube. So there we go. I'm going to do that. I'm going to get a slotted spoon because I don't want any of the liquid from my apples in there. And so what you're going to want to do, I'm trying to get, oh, there we go. Okay. So this is 6 apples in here. You may not need all 6. Depends on the size of your apples. These are 6 medium apples. And just gently, and don't press them down. All the way around. Try to get as little liquid as possible, so then your cake won't bake. I know, I feel like I should be doing a song and a dance during the...
Maybe dip the apple song.
Well, I need to concentrate on what I'm doing. You can do that. Okay, there's your apples. Now I'm going to put in the rest of the batter. As you can see, the batter is really, really thick. Don't be concerned. It should be thick. Just put that on top. You're going to spread it out again once, and you're going to use the rest of your batter. I could keep it in the pan. And these are two really, and this cake really freezes well. So make it ahead of time. I would say that if you baked it, it would stay in the refrigerator after you've baked it. And if you didn't use it, you could keep it in the refrigerator 2 to 3 days if you didn't want to freeze. Pinky. Is Pinky on mute?
No, not anymore. Yes,
Pinky,
darling.
tell us what you did with yours.
What I did with my apple cake, I ate the whole thing.
No, but you tell me you baked it over? You did something. You changed it and made it and South Africa. Yes.
What was left
Yes.
of it, I cut it into what we call rusks, into like a finger cookie.
Uh-huh.
And dried it out in the oven, and they were out of this world. So if you wanted to not make it as a cake like that, Ben, you would do it in a long 9 by 13 flat baking tray and cut it into like biscotti.
Uh-huh.
It was divine, absolutely delicious. So I'm waiting for more.
So I'm gonna give me 1 second. So there you go. The let's kind of flatten that out a little bit just to get it smooth. Now we're going to put apples on top, and it's going to bake. Now, as I say, it really kind of depends on the day. The recipe says bake for 90 minutes. You're really going to need all of the 90 minutes. You may need more. I use and I'll show you, a bamboo stick as my cake tester. Better than a toothpick, because the toothpick is only this short and the bamboo stick will go all the way down. I'll tell you what, I don't know how old this recipe is. The name of it is Jewish apple cake. It was my mother's recipe. I don't know where she got it. I doubt that she invented it, but this cake has been a part of my life forever, especially at Rosh Hashana time. Okay, there you go. And that's all there is to it. We're going to put it in the oven. I'm going to set the timer for an hour and a half. And then I have one that's already baked, and I'm going to show you the easy way to plate it. All right. There we go. Okay. Here's a cake that I baked this morning. So what you're going to want to do is cut around your cake with a knife to loosen it from the sides. Pull it out. Make sure that you cut around the bottom so that you loosen it from the bottom, because some of your apples may have dropped down. And then you want to loosen it around the tube. The easiest way I have found to release a tube cake onto the cooling rack is to get a paper plate, make a hole in it, because you're either using your hand and sometimes the cake is hot, or when I make a sour cream coffee cake and it's got a streusel top, the streusel gets all over my hand. So I just make a little hole in a paper plate, put it over your tube, turn your cake over, and there you have it. And there's your apple cake. Now you would let that cool completely before you slice it. But again, I'm going to slice it for you. So, oh, look how lovely. Everything's really nice and brown. Your apples are cooked. My lovely taste tester here is going to have another piece of cake. So it is completely cool, but you're going to want to completely cool it before you slice it. And here we go. Oop. And there we go. So you've got your middle layer of apples, goes through apples on the top. And there we go. Great with vanilla ice cream. Great with vanilla ice cream. Great alone. It's a really delicious, rich cake. And that's that.
Bye-bye.
Oh wait, no, Izzy has to taste. Oh wait, Izzy has to taste.
You can switch to the
You
other
can
side.
switch. So yeah, there we go. Now we have to see, as long as he doesn't faint.
And Shana Tova to everyone.
Hey, it's baked. No,
There we have it. Any
That
questions?
is
it's worthy.
awesome.
Any questions?
Any questions? Silence. It must have
Oh
been.
my good.
That's a good.
Wow.
Means it was
Now
very.
they're all enthralled. So it's really an excellent part. Rich, delicious cake. I just love this recipe, and so it's always something that I make at holiday time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for that.
welcome.
Thank you
I've
for that
started them
one.
all- What?
Thank you for that wonderful tip with the paper plate. That was.
It's my pleasure, always.
And as I said to the rabbi, you are now our new Martha Stewart.
Ha ha ha.